Shalom, Islam to all the Moors. I'm DrYasapa. We're back on Aquarius. We'll begin on page 190. Page 190. One moment. All right. Give me 1 second, y'all. Page 190. Let me check the screen, the signal rather. So here's the book that we are coming out of. The link to the free PDF is in the description area of this video and the other videos that we cover on this book, okay? So make sure you download the link. It's free. Print it, bind it, and have it for every lesson, every presentation that we do. Give me one moment while I check the signal. Y'all do me a favor and let other people know that we are here. I appreciate that very much. It really helps. Y'all should know by now, I say it in every presentation that YouTube shadow bans the channel. So liking, sharing, helps to distribute or push the video in the algorithm. Everybody knows this. So if you come in and you stay more than 5 minutes, please like and share. If you don't want to like and share, it means you don't like the video. So you should, of course, leave, right? All right. You don't like it, leave. Give me 1 second. All right, so we got a good signal, y'all. We got a good signal, so I will go ahead and begin. We're on page 190. Let everyone know that we are here, that we are live. Send me a share, call somebody, text somebody. Here we go. All right. We are on the second paragraph. All right, let me point it to you so you know what, point to it so you know where we're going to start at. All right, right where my finger is, this paragraph, that's where we're at. So let's begin. Let's begin. In the story of Samson's first haircut, we're talking about Samson's first haircut, y'all. In the story of Samson's first haircut, we'll read about this in Judges chapter 16, verse 17 through 19. The Jewish scripture present us with the delightful poetic account of the sun sun's weakness when in its place in the sign of Aquarius. So what the author is here telling us is Judges chapter 16, verse 17 through 19 is astrological. It is telling the story about the sun, the orb in the sky, all right? This is an astrological verse or astro-theological verse, however you want to put it. So let's get into it. The Jewish scriptures present us with the delightful poetic account of the sun's weakness when it is placed in the sign of Aquarius. So how is this? Let's see how the author develops this idea, or this statement rather. The name Samson, see, the forgotten language of the stars, comes from the Hebrew word shemesh. Now y'all know that this is biblical Hebrew or modern Hebrew, right? In Ibaryath, there are no E sounds, all right? There are no E sounds, no vowels. Shemesh, according to the Jewish people, is Samson in English. But what is it in Ibaryath? What is it in Ibaryath? All right, what is it in Ibaryath? Shemesh, which means whose name comes from the Hebrew word. Oh, sorry about that, y'all. I skipped the line. I'm going to start from the beginning. The name Samson See the forgotten language of the stars. Comes from the Hebrew word shemesh, which means sun. That's S-U-N, sun. And so his name is equivalent to our Sonny. So when I was growing up, one of my next door neighbors, his name was Sonny, S-O-N-N-Y. In Vietnam, I know someone whose English name is also Sonny, S-O-N-N-Y. All right, so let's continue. Y'all see where this is going. This should be completely obvious right now. His nemesis is Delilah, whose name comes from the Hebrew word Deli. Let me spell that for y'all because I may be pronouncing it wrong. D-E-L-I-Y, D-E-L-I-Y. This is why it's important for you all to print this book off and have it bound, okay? Which means water bucket. So Delilah in the biblical or modern Hebrew language is pronounced Deli, D-E-L-I-Y, and Deli means water bucket. Water bucket. So if you look back at page 189, you see a man with a water bucket, and the water is pouring out, okay, toward the earth. This is Aquarius, the man carrying a water bucket. Notice in this picture, the water bucket is upside down so that the water is flowing out of the bucket, okay? Flowing out of the bucket onto the earth. So Delilah is a woman, female. So in this astrological account or astrotheological account, Delilah is carrying the water bucket. So as I mentioned yesterday, or I'm sorry, not yesterday, but in Aquarius number 1, I mentioned that females, women carry water in the ancient Near East. All right, not men, not men. So the issue is, why is the zodiac sign symbol of Aquarius, why is that a man and not a woman? What's the intent? What purpose does it serve, right? That's the point I wanted to make, and I want to show you that here. So there is an inconsistency. You have to pay attention to detail, scholars. You must pay attention to detail, all right? It is very important to notice these details. Delilah is Aquarius, in which the S-U-N, sun, loses its strength. The sun loses its strength in Aquarius. So why does the sun lose its strength in Aquarius? That's the logical question, right? Why? Well, you should know. You should know Aquarius follows Capricorn. So we are in deep winter, December and January. Aquarius is in January. So the sun has been humiliated, right? Isn't that what the scripture says? Christ was humiliated. The sun has been humiliated. The night has overtaken the sun, and the sun has no power to increase the number of daylight hours over dark. So the sun is increased. So the sun is humiliated. And cold, bitter cold, wintry, terrible conditions exist on the earth because the sun has been humiliated. The sun is at its weakest. It has been overtaken by the darkness. So the battle, remember, scholars, the battle is between light and darkness. maximum light at the summer solstice, somewhere around June 21st, 22nd, 23rd, somewhere in that area. Maximum number of daylight hours, the light. December 21st, 22nd, this is the minimum number of daylight hours or the maximum number of nighttime hours. Every point in between is injustice and unrighteousness. It's sin. Why? Because there's an imbalance between the number of daylight hours and the number of dark hours. As I mentioned before, this is where the concept of injustice, sin, inequality comes from. So at the equinox, the vernal and autumn or spring and fall equinox, you have justice. Christ comes to bring justice. 12 hours of daylight, 12 hours of night. All right. Every day or every point other than on the equinoxes, there is injustice. There's either more light, more daylight than nighttime, or there's more nighttime than daylight. This is your concrete time. This is your concrete, not time, but your concrete source of the concept of justice, inequity, sin, etc., etc., etc. All right. So let's get beyond that. So Delilah is Aquarius, in which the sun loses its strength. The sun is conquered, humiliated by the darkness and the cold, a process symbolized by clipping of Samson's locks. And Samson's locks symbolize sun rays, the rays of the sun. The rays of the sun that flow out from the orb, those rays flow out to the earth and heat it. And the earth can do everything that the earth is able to do in spring and summer. And then ultimately the climactic point of the year is autumn, where we get the harvest and the covenant of grace, the covenant of peace. Y'all see? So Samson's hair represents the rays of the sun, just like JC's crown of thorns represents the rays of the sun. The Statue of Liberty, those rays coming out, rays of the sun. Okay, light. All right. So Samson's light was cut off. Samson's light, his hair was cut off. This is the connection to the winter. Y'all see it? All right. For Ptolemy, Capricorn and Aquarius lacked beneficence. Then, not because people born under Capricorn and Aquarius were without benevolence, but because Capricorn and Aquarius themselves represent the bleakness and blackness of winter. So do you see how we were able to, as I just showed you, just by knowing the concepts, I was able to anticipate what the author would write in the paragraph. Did you guys see that? I already discussed it. Why? Because I know the process. And you hang around me long enough, you'll also learn the process. You'll get a proper education at Zion Law School. You didn't pay for anything. You haven't paid for anything. All of this is free. But because Capricorn and Aquarius zodiac signs themselves represent the bleakness and the blackness of winter, when life was hard and dangerous for many. Such hardship, however, makes us conscious of our vulnerability. Now, this is a key point. I don't know how well the author will develop this, but this is a key point. Hardship makes you aware of your vulnerability. Now, what does that mean? It means when you got problems, all of a sudden you realize that you need somebody. Those people who you probably ignored, those people who you treated badly, now that you got hard times, now you need somebody. Now you need to change your attitude and your behavior and apologize if you've done them wrong. All right, you need to find a team. You need to become family and community oriented. You need to become nationalistic, group oriented, group politics. Let's read it. Such hardship, however, makes us conscious of our vulnerability, our need for others, of our responsibilities within the group to which we belong. As our sense of individuality diminishes, our sense of communal responsibility increases. Why? Because you're getting your ASS handed to you. And they're not giving you a welfare check or a social security check. They're not giving you any type of financial support to give you a false sense of independence. Well, I don't need you. I don't need anybody. I can do it on my own. So we see that the interdependence, the dance of interdependency has value in nature. We are all part of a system, an ecosystem, and a larger ecosystem. Nobody can exist alone. You'd be a miserable, unhappy person. All right. But these hardships will bring you back to nature. Men and women are highly social people, entities, beings, right? Powers, deities. We need each other. We need each other. So the author is telling us that you're going to get beat up in life in Aquarius. The age of Aquarius will beat you up, beat you down. If you thought you caught hell during Capricorn, wait until you get into the age of Aquarius. This is what I'm seeing right now as we read. Wait until you get into Aquarius, then you're going to start running for help. Then you're going to realize that it ain't all about you. And you narcissists, you people who are high on the narcissist spectrum, you're going to catch hell. Because maybe nobody's going to want to deal with you. And maybe that'll be the end for you and people like you, right? Not maybe, definitely. Nobody wants a narcissist or someone who's high on that spectrum around them, especially when you got problems, right? So the age of Aquarius will rain down HELL on you, so much so that it's going to cause you to start to think less about yourself and more about other people. You're going to be thinking about survival in the literal sense of the word, and you need other people. So you're going to become more family and group oriented for your own survival initially. Initially, it'll be a matter of survival, group and community orientation. Right now in North America, you all have absolutely no unity, no sense of nationhood. Everything is extreme individuality. I got mine, you get yours. F you, I don't need you type of attitude is going to be very traumatic in the age of Aquarius for you all, according to what we're reading in this book. Now let's continue. Such hardship, however, makes us conscious of our vulnerability. It makes you conscious of your need to have others so that you can just survive. All right? Of our need for others, of our responsibilities. You see that? So now it's just you just can no longer say, well, I'm gonna do this and I'll do that. I'll pay you back. I'll make sure I do this. And then you don't do it. Now your word is really bond, because if you don't do what you say you're gonna do, if you don't do what you are responsible for, guess what? Guess what? You're gonna get a taste of some vengeance, a taste of some vengeance from the people in your community who will punish you for your irresponsibility. All right? It'll come to at great cost. So much so that people will begin to keep their responsibilities. All right? All right. They'll keep their responsibilities to the family, to the group, to the community, to the nation. Why? Because you are in so much pain and turmoil. You don't have a choice. You're forced into cooperating with each other. You are forced into treating each other well, right? Because it's winter, bitter winter, and you need to stay warm and safe. All right. So let's go on to the next paragraph. This is page 190, page 191. In Capricorn, this manifested as authority. So in other words, in Capricorn, it was the institutions, the corporations, exercising all power over the people, taking away the people's sovereignty. In Capricorn, these harsh wintry conditions that we're talking about manifested as authority. What kind of authority? Supreme authority, autocracy, oligarchy, right? In Capricorn, this manifested as authority, the corporate state, oligarchy, totalitarianism, etc. As the power of the state, the corporation, the Catholic Church, and the corporations, as the power of the state to subjugate. Now, y'all should know that the Catholic Church is above. The Catholic Church is above government, right? Read the papal bull that I did on this topic. I read through the entire papal bull itself, not a commentary. And you'll see where the Catholic Church actually says that it is occupying the representative role of Christ on earth, and all governments are beneath it. So when you talk about the state, well, let's put that into context here. As the power of the state to subjugate and regulate the rights of the individual. Y'all got that? The power of the state to subjugate and regulate the rights of the individual. Well, the state gets its power from the Catholic Church. So this is why we can say that, all right? Unum sanctum. In Aquarius, however, group consciousness is expressed as cooperation among free individuals who have sublimated the demands of the ego in order to facilitate the highest good of the greatest number. Now, that's a long, fancy way of saying you're going to get beat up so bad, life is going to be so terrible, winter is going to be so horrible that you're going to say, you know what? Let me forget about what I want, because that's not going to get me anywhere. That might get me killed. I need to focus on the group. We need a group to survive. That's all this is saying. All right. I don't have time. I don't have energy. I don't have resources to think about me. I need to connect myself to a group so that I can just eat, so that I can just stay warm. And nobody's helping me. The government, the church is not giving you fiat to keep you calm and in place anymore. So now that that's gone, you need other people. All right. This is what it's talking about, group consciousness. It's not a good thing. You're forced into it. You're forced to cooperate because life has become so hard, so difficult. You cannot do it on your own. You're forced to cooperate with others. Can you imagine that? The so-called Black people cooperating with each other. Well, guess what? It will take outside powerful forces and extremely hard, devastating conditions to overcome the African-American, Negro, Black, Latino mindset of supreme individuality and F my brother and sister, F my community, my family, I'm getting the bag. You realize how much devastation and hardship that they will have to experience in order to cause a change of consciousness? Do you realize how difficult that will be? How much agony they're going to have to experience in order to shift that consciousness? This is Aquarius. All right, let's continue. Aquarius is the fixed air sign. I have no idea what they mean by fixed air sign. And although fixity reflects something of its Saturnian inflexibility, air is the medium of ideas, of debate, of intellectual expression. I'm not sure if I agree with that. Fixed air sign. First of all, air cannot be fixed. Air cannot be fixed. Fixicity reflects something to its Saturnian inflexibility. Okay, so the planet Saturn is powerful in a very dark, negative way. It is inflexible. It is what it is, dark, ugly, and nasty. All right, that's how I'm understanding this. Inflexible, it's not going to change. Air is the medium of ideas. Now, this is what I have a problem with. I don't see air as being the medium of ideas. I don't see the connection between air being the medium of ideas or of debate or of intellectual exploration. So I don't buy this. I have to learn more. The author should have clarified this. Hopefully what he says next doesn't hinge upon this sentence. If what he says next hinges or depends logically upon this sentence about air being the fixed air sign, then I would discount it. I would not take it seriously because you can't take what it's based on seriously, right? It's not clear. Consequently, all right, so here we go. Consequently, or because of, right, as a result of, consequently, Aquarius has come to be associated with the democratic spirit. Okay, so he's referring to a philosophy that I'm clearly not familiar with. So he's referring to a philosophy, all right? Consequently, Aquarius has come to be associated with the democratic spirit. Now, scholars, you should know, democratic spirit means what? Demon rule. Democratic spirit means demon rule. When our ancestors prepared the Constitution for the United States of North America, it is and it was a Republican form of government where the people are sovereign. All right? Democracy is majority rule, mob rule. So 51% of the voters win and 49% lose. In contrast to a Republican form of government where everyone wins. Every man and woman wins. You're sovereign. All right? Mob rule. All right? Pay attention to the language. Consequently, Aquarius has come to be associated with the democratic spirit or mob rule. Mob rule. Demon rule. With free participation by equals in the governing process. Well, we already know what he just said is not true. Democracy is not free participation by equals in the governing process. We know that's not true. Just, it's not true by definition, right? You look at the etymology of democracy, and it's not true in the Constitution for the United States, right? They have that 13th and 14th Amendment in there. Y'all see it? Where they've stolen the nationality and sovereignty of the indigenous Moors, the Moorish Americans. All right, y'all see that? So this idea about democratic spirit is BS. There is no free, there is no equal, rather, participation in the governing process. It's all BS. But I do agree with the democratic spirit because, see, the democracy is tricky and it's evil. All right? It is evil. And you would expect evil or wickedness during Aquarius, right? Especially coming from the government. So in this sense, it makes sense, okay? But he's presenting it in a way that it makes it sound good, all right? To those people who are ignorant, they don't know how to read, they don't know the meaning of the words, right? So that he would have got you. The autocracy and patriarchy expressed by Capricorn, remember autocracy, corporation, the Catholic Church, corporate nation states, oligarchy, etc., fascism, right? Where business or businesses, corporations, and government are working together, you have absolutely no right. They get their experts and make decisions for you, like what happened with the jab, okay, under the excuse of a global emergency, right? And many of y'all fell for it. All right, so let's continue. The autocracy and patriarchy expressed by Capricorn has yielded to the egalitarianism of Aquarius, reflected, no doubt, in the curious fact that many of the 20th century's most prominent feminist thinkers have been born under Aquarius. Now, feminist thinkers, has feminism had a positive impact on Black Americans, African Americans, Latino Americans? Has it had a positive effect globally? Absolutely not. It's had a very devastatingly destructive, a very devastating impact. We have to be careful with words and understand the history associated with these words and events. All right, now this author is presenting feminism as though it's something good. Now, I don't know if he's aware of these things. I'm assuming he's aware of everything I'm talking about, because if I know it, he should know it, right? And whether he's writing so flowery so that you can get excited about Aquarius, you can get excited about the pain and hardship, the trauma that you're going to experience, thinking it's going to bring you good. Like feminism brought you good. No, feminism didn't bring, or let me rephrase that. Women's lib didn't bring good. A lot of women are suffering. A lot of families all over the world are suffering because of women's lib, right? And a lot of women are beginning to see that they were fooled, they were tricked. All right, all right. So the author is saying that there's going to be a shift from corporate domination, right, going into the age of Aquarius, where the hard times will cause people to come together. And those people who are very altruistic will rise to the top. Those people who are community oriented, they want to help relieve pain. These people are going to rise to the top, and groups are going to come together, right? Groups are going to come together out of necessity. Okay, and good things will happen because of the good nature, of people. Well, I don't want to hear that. I'm more interested in the cause of that. So there's going to be massive, devastating destruction and hard times. That's what I want to talk about. Don't tell me, or don't pee on me and tell me it's raining. All right. Oh, you're going to be poor. You won't own anything, but you'll be happy. What kind of crazy stuff is that? Anyway, let's continue. There's a footnote. It reads, well, I'm not going to read through. So there's a footnote here, and it has a list of all of the feminists, I guess. All right. So it's not important enough for me to read it. Let's go to the next paragraph. At its best, Aquarius symbolizes the ideal society. In other words, what, y'all? In other words, order out of chaos. Capricorn brings in chaos, pain and suffering. And then from that pain and suffering, people come together out of necessity to survive, right? And they produce this ideal society. But how is there an ideal society when you're suffering, right? This is ridiculous from my point of view. Now, I can understand that pain and suffering will bring people together, but a whole age full of pain and suffering, and I'm supposed to be happy, right? I'm supposed to be happy because I need other people, and I'm finally willing to cooperate with other people because the world is demanding it. I don't see happiness in that, right? I don't see happiness in that. Happiness to me is when the world around you is at peace and you cooperate with each other out of respect for each other because you follow natural law, right? The world around you, everybody is at peace. We don't need a government. In fact, did y'all know that when the House of Yasharala first began, there was no government. Every man was a sovereign. There was no government. Okay, we don't need a government. That's what peace is. Okay, let's continue. And we're going to stop after this, all right? At its best, Aquarius symbolizes the ideal society in which the proper balance between the rights of the individual and the rights of the group is established and maintained. So this sounds like sovereignty, right? My rights end where they begin to encroach upon yours. People in whom the Aquarian vision seems most evident are socially committed, concerned for the welfare of the wider community. Manila, I don't know if I can pronounce this, hold on. Manolius claims that Aquarius, when rising in the East at the time of birth, signifies a model citizen. So you get beat, you get beat up into being a model citizen. The good, the pious, and the just are born when first Aquarius pours out his urn. This sounds to me like they're gonna whip you, beat you into subjection so you'll be happy. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see how this chapter develops. I'm Dr. Yasapa from Zion Law School. I'll see y'all on the next one. Islam to all of the Moors. Y'all make sure that you go to enforcetheconstitution.org and send them some fiat. Do whatever you can to support helping get our nationals out of solitary confinement in the prisoner of war camp. All right. Reach out to them by email. Islam and Shalawama.